Welcome everyone to my shredswap AI update. So what is shredswap? Shredswap is an app that I created last semester for our interactive media class. It's just an online marketplace for people to buy, sell, trade, and just get a bunch of snowboard gear off of. The reason why I kind of wanted to go with making an app that's surrounded around a marketplace with snowboarding was because I didn't really like find any type of marketplace like that out there other than like your average like used sports stores and things like that. And when you go try to buy used gear from a used sports store, like in your area, like the gear that you usually see there isn't cool or isn't like good quality because the people that are trying to sell their used gear aren't getting enough money for what their gear's worth. So they're not really willing to sell it at a used store. But now with shredswap, they could just go in, put their own price on it, see if it sells, trade it for other gear. And yeah, at the end of the day, they just be really satisfied with making their money back on their purchases and things like that. So this is the actual layout of what shredswap looks like. It's just your classic marketplace. So we have a sign-in page. We have this is our home page right here is a second screen. We have some snowboards to look at. We have recently viewed items that the user viewed. And then if we actually go to our search tab, which is the third screen, we're greeted with some suggested items, some categorized items, and then again our recently viewed items. The fourth screen is our locator option. So this is a super cool option. The way I like the kind of direction I wanted to go in with shredswap was also make it a local marketplace. So here buyers can actually go in and try to locate their local sellers in their area, see what they have to offer, and then see if they actually want to buy anything at the end of the day. And then our fifth screen is our messaging tab. This tab is just your classic messaging back and forth, asking questions about the product, things like that. So yeah, that is just the basic layout of the app for the update. So why AI? The reason why I chose to do AI is because it was one of our project requirements for Interactive Media 3 this year. And just because I think AI is also super cool and just helps like apps at the end of the day, it just makes it way more usable for users. Users just get a lot more help at the end of the day as well because they could just go in for example, if they have a chat bot in their design, you could just go and ask questions, get your questions solved right away, and not have to worry about wait times and things like that. So how can it benefit my app? Like I said before, I think that it could just really benefit customer service at the end of the day, just because um the buyers and sellers kind of really have to rely on messaging back and forth with each other. So they don't really get a lot of information about like stuff they need, or they have to go in and do their own personal research online and things like that so that they could like find the answers to the questions that they have. So I just think that it really boosts customer service, just instant like answers, instant help with research. It could help you find products quicker. It could help you like find sizing recommendations faster than researching stuff and things like that. So that's why I think that my app would benefit from AI. So these are some of the ideas that I had and some of the ideas that ChatGTP and Google recommended. So some of the recommendations from them were a smart search and filters. So it's telling me to use AI search algorithms to help users find specific snowboard gear based on the preferences that they like, such as brands, condition, size, and terrain suitability. The second recommendation that it gave me was the image recognition for listing. So integrate AI image recognition to automatically identify and tag snowboards, bindings, and other gear in user uploaded photos. So to break that down, it's kind of just like an image search, in my opinion. So you just like insert an image to the AI feature inside ShredSwap, and then it would kind of just find a listing based off of the image that you a pricing assistant. I think this is super helpful for the sellers at the end of the day because it could just help them find the right price for their items. They could just ask, like, they could just insert a prompt to an AI and tell them, like, hey, I have this item in this condition. Like, how much do you think I can get for it? And it's going to filter through like similar listings, like similar prices, and things like that. So personalized recommendations, this is also a big one because it just makes the app more personalized to the user at the end of the day. Makes the user feel more, I think it makes the user feel more like cared about too. So it's just gonna show them items that they would actually prefer to buy over items that they don't ever plan on buying. So I think that that's super cool. The ideas that I wanted to play with, I obviously want to play with an image search just because I love image searches. I think that they're super helpful and they really reduce like the stress that you have when you're trying to find an item that you don't know the name of. And then it also just reduces the time that it takes to find those items. General help. So this consists of like a chat bot the users can ask questions to get their answers for like anything that they might need in shredswap. And I think that this would be super cool because right now, like I might have said this before, but they just rely on messaging back and forth between user and seller. So this could make it way easier. They can get their questions answered instantly and not have to wait for anyone to respond to them except for the chatbot. Personalized recommendations is another one that I wanted to play with just because I really like when an app actually suggests items that you want to buy over items that you don't really care about because you're just instantly greeted with items that like, oh hey, like I don't have to scroll for hours to try to find an item that I like. I'm just instantly greeted with one. Virtual try-on is one that I want to play with, but I don't really know how I execute it because I don't really know how to prototype that. But I think that it'd be awesome because it really just reduce like the time like on trying to figure out research like about an item sizing and things like that. It would also just like you wouldn't really have to wing it as much when you purchase an item. I should say because you never know if it's going to fit you correctly unless you try it on in person like you could do inside a store. But since TreadSwap is an online marketplace, I think that a virtual try on would be super beneficial. So the idea that I finally like concluded on going with was a chatbot for shredswap, and some of the research that I found about chatbots is that they really just help like kind of marketplaces at the end of the day with customer service, and they help just users get their questions answered quickly, and it just helps at like overall the user's experience at the end of the day because it just makes like they don't have to research for much anymore. They could just go in and instantly get their questions answered. They don't have to wait for anyone to respond to them. Everything's right there at the palm of their hands. So my kind of chatbot is going to be called the virtual sales associate. And the reason it's going to be called the virtual sales associate is because I want it to resemble an in-store associate as much as possible. So for example, like when you go to the mall and go to any store and you're like trying to buy a product, you're going to have sales associates that come up and and they're going to give you the answers to the questions that you have. They're going to give you recommendations about what you should buy. They're going to answer the questions you have about sizing, anything like that. So I think that this would be super cool because right now the buyers especially are really just relying on asking the seller like, hey, like how does this fit? Would you like all this like all the questions that they may have before purchasing the item? It's all just comes down to them asking the seller, and it that could take like days for the seller to respond depending on how good at communicating the seller is, and it could just kind of make or break the purchase when you can just instantly go in, ask a chatbot a question, have it answered, and then instantly buy the product that you had a question on. So the screen that I have right here kind of just consists of the new update. So as you can see, it's just that little blue, well, it's not just that little blue icon, but this is how it's going to be like shown on most of the pages so that the users can actually just click and go to the actual chatbot. So my analysis from the update, I found that a lot of the users that I sent the prototype to actually really liked the chatbot, and they also told me that they really like it when designs and apps kind of incorporate these kind of chatbots because, like I said before, it just really reduces the stress that like users have when it comes to online shopping or even just doing research like online on apps and things like that. Like you could just ask a chatbot a question and it'll have it answered for you in no time, and then you could just go about your day. Especially with ShredSwap, you could just figure out if you really want to buy the item, or you could just figure out what size you are in a certain item and then actually know what to search for. And then you could actually have your kind of like your stuff found instantly too. Like I said before, an image search is going to be included inside of the chatbot, so the users are able to just insert an image and find some listings that match the photo that they provided. I think this is super huge, and a lot of the people that I provided the prototype to thought that that was a super cool feature as well. So this is the updated app look. So this is the virtual shopping assistant. So this is kind of what it looks like. And these are some of the scenarios that people may have. But at the end of the day, the user can go in and ask the chatbot anything they have to ask inside of shredswap, like absolutely anything, and they'll have their questions answered. But for the scenarios that I made for my prototype, it's making a return, sizing for Vans boots, so recommendations, and then as well as help finding an item. So that's our image search. So now we're going to go into the prototype. So we're going to go in here, create an account, provide some information. It's going to take us to the home screen where we're greeted with some snowboards, our recently viewed items, and then down at the bottom right corner, our brand new updated feature. So we're going to go ahead, click on that little chat icon. It's going to greet us. Chatbot's going to say hello. It's going to ask us how it could help us today. So let's say we need help making a return. We're just going to go in here. It's going to ask you for your order number. It's going to show you the item in the order, and it's going to ask you if that's the correct one. You're going to say yes if it is, no if it's not. And then it's going to see what state the item came from, or kind of see if you got it locally. So in this instance, he got it from out of state, so the person would actually have to go to a post office to drop it off, and then it'll instantly show you the nearest post office where it'll accept your returns. We can go ahead and click here. We can see it's 13 minutes away. Thank you so much for providing me that. You're going to just thank it, and then it's just going to exit you out. So we can go back in. For the second scenario, we need help finding our size for Vans boots. So we're going to ask it what size we need. We're going to tell it the size that we usually wear in our sneakers and shoes like that. It's going to tell you the recommended size, and then it's going to instantly find you listings in that size. So the first listing that it found us was obviously what we asked for is Vans boots in our size. So we gave it a size 9 because that's the size we were. Recommended us a size 9, and then it found us a listing on the app for a pair of Vans boots in a size 9. But it's also going to offer you different recommendations of popular styles out there and like what other people are buying. So let's say I like these Nike boots that it suggested. I can go in, read about the item, see if I want to purchase it, things like that. So yeah, let's go back in. So for the third scenario that we have, it's gonna be our image search scenario. So we're just gonna go in, we're gonna ask it to find an item for us. So today we're gonna be looking for some Oakley goggles in that style. Found us some super cool listings just instantly right off of what you prompted it to. So let's say I want to go in and buy these that it found us, so the cheapest option there. I can go in, read about the item. We can see that it's a pair of the goggles that I asked for in my size. It's a used pair, so the price is a little lower. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. $90 plus shipping. That's all good. So it's gonna come out to around $100 like it was listed before. And then we'll go in, buy it. And it's just going to bring you back to the chat bot so we can go ahead, thank it, ask it any more questions if we have any more questions. And yeah, so that is overall the AI updated feature for shredswap. I think that it's a super cool feature, and I think that most designers need to try to incorporate this into their design because it just really helps boost customer service, makes the app more usable for users. They can get a bunch of stuff answered super quickly, and it's overall just a really good feature to add into any type of design, I think. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next